Welcome, Watchers of Illusion, to my Castle of Confusion and ZX Spectrum 35th Anniversary Week. Yes, indeed, it's the 16th of February, and I'm looking at Pippo on the Spectrum, of course. And what a great little game this is. Probably not very well known, actually, Pippo, but Pippo was one of the first games I ever played on my Spectrum. You can see there's a plethora of options there, Define Keys, Kempston, Sinclair, and even back then they had the sense to use Q, A, O and P, which was lovely. But I'm using Kempston joystick today for my little go through, so here we go. Level 1. Now this was only 48k, ladies and gents, so bear that in mind while we're watching this video. While you're watching this video, I'm playing it. Okay, so there we are. It's a one-screen game, and it's grids. And what you've got to do is you've got to turn the squares the colour that it shows in the bottom right-hand corner, which is easier said than done. Yes. Right, so you have lots of squares to fill in, and you do that just by simply jumping onto them. Now, the enemies on the squares, you cannot touch those or it's instant death. You cannot fall down those holes either, or the side of the board, which you can also fall off, which results in this cute little scream. I'm not going to do it for you because I feel cruel doing that to Pippo because he's such a cool little character. This was released by Mastertronic, and it's just, what a fun little game. It's a puzzle game, basically. I didn't actually realise this, but you can eat that guy with the sunglasses on. But he basically will go around the map and turn all your squares back to the original colours. So you've got to basically catch him and squash him. But at this point, I didn't realise that. So there you go. I just seem to remember from when I used to play that you could just eat him. But never mind. I'm going to try that. If I see him again, I'll see if I can catch him next time. So you get bonus points every time you finish a level. There's not much sound to speak of. There's like this kind of, best way I can describe it is sort of a drum noise when you get bad guys on the screen, like tuck, 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 which you'll probably hear anyway in the background as I play through this. But yeah, you get a different colour to do each time. Each stage is split up into, I think, 4. So you got 4 of these screens to solve, and then you'll go on to the next level. Each level brings a different challenge and different bad guys. So like on this one, you've only got to colour in 1 coloured square. On future levels, you need to colour in 2. So basically you have to jump onto the squares more than once to colour them into the colours that is required of you. You can see down the bottom there is your display. You've got your score, lives, and the colour that you need to turn. You know, for the first level, it's fairly simple and self-explanatory on what colours you need to do, because whatever square you jump on is the colour it needs to be. But like I said, later on in level 2 and 3, things start getting a little bit more complex. Now, I like the fact they're using different colour schemes here. So now we've got this kind of black with Pippo being white, which is interesting. I quite like that. It's creativity. And you can see there that the mobs just spawn on those black clouds. Now, I unfortunately am not very good at avoiding them. So, by the way, that pill that you can see, I'm just about to go and get that now. It's kind of like Pac-Man in a way. You go and get that, the guys turn into springs, and then they are easily edible, and you can get rid of them for a short time. They do respawn, so you've got to be careful of that, and they can respawn at any point on the board. There are no set spawn places. There you go. There's numbers now spawned. Numbers have never been more threatening, my friends. Never. So you've got to be careful. And now you can see there's a lot more squares in the middle that you can now fall to your death. So you've got to be careful of that as well. You've got to be careful where those numbers are going. There's no set path to them. They can just suddenly change direction. So you've got to be careful of that. There's quite a lot to be careful of. The simplicity of the game is amazing. And that's an extra life, by the way. So here we go. Let's see if I can... he turned back to a number 4. What a scumbag. Anyway. So you can see there, it's not quite as simple. They don't give you any indication when they're going to turn back into their mob selves or their harmful incarnations. So you've got to be careful of that as well. Maybe if you can hook a timer on internally in your head and you'll know how much they've got to go for, that will be very, very beneficial to you. So then you'll know how long you've got between picking up that power pill, eating them, and when they respawn. So there you go. Now we're on to level 2. So now we're going to get some different enemy types. And this should be double colours, I think. So now we start with purple squares. Now we've got to turn them white. Yes, so now we've got to go on to the blues. So now, yeah, it's doubles this time. And this makes the game instantly, you know, the replay factor of this game is amazing. If you think about how simplistic it is, and that it's on a 48k specky, I think they've done a really, really good job with this. And it's clever. It's very, very clever. Because now they've given you an extra challenge in to turn those squares. You not only once have you got to go over them, you've got to go over them twice. Now, I know later levels from playing this back when I had a Spectrum, still have got a Spectrum, but when I actually had my 48k, because 128k now, but when I had my 48 and I had this game, there are levels that actually require you to colour all the squares in, but if you jump on them again, then they will go back to their original colour, and that is where the things start getting really, really taxing, and obviously can be a bit frustrating. And on top of that, you've got the smiley face guy that turns them all back colours anyway. So you've got to be careful of it. There's so much stuff going on in this game. You know, you've just got to think, wow, that's a lot to put into a 48k memory bank. And it worked. Oh, great. So yeah, again, you've got to be careful there. He just came out of nowhere. So yeah, you got the flying saucer. He basically follows you around everywhere you go like a big turd. Not that they follow you around or anything. But each stage, so now we're on stage 2, we're going to get 3,000 bonus points at the end of every level, which is lovely. I really quite like the multicoloured sort of phase that we just got there. Now you can see here that it wants us to turn them yellow, but there's 2 coats of yellow, so it's actually been quite cunning here as well. I actually really like this. It's very, very good fun. This is a game that will keep you coming back and back and back, and that's what you want out of a game. You don't want a game that's just going to be a 5-minute wonder. You want as much playability as possible. The actual main character as well, he's quite lovable, isn't he? He looks like a space hopper. That's probably the best way I can describe him, actually. Yes, Pippo the space hopper. That's your main character, and he just loves to turn squares a different colour. I'm not actually sure of the background of this game, but because I had to play it back when I had a Spectrum, I wanted to bring it to you guys, because like I said, it's probably not a very well known game, Pippo, but being a Mastertronic title as well, I thought, you know, I'll give you guys a shot at it and see what you think. It's worth having a play. If you've never played this game and you like sort of puzzle element type games, have a go. I think you'll quite enjoy this. It's one of those games that you can just load in, have a few minutes on, put it down, whatever you want to do. It's worth a shot. It's good fun. It's good fun, and it keeps you on your toes as well. It's not, you know, the learning curve is there, so I would say suitable for a majority of ages for a start. And now you can see here we're using this rather interesting magenta and black colour scheme, which is interesting. Now you can do this several ways. You can go around the entire board, and you can change all of them to the one colour. Then you can go around the board a second time and change them all again, or you can do how I'm doing it now, which is basically to do as many as you can in quick succession, so you're not having to worry about going around the entire board again. Now you can see Mr. Smiley Face made an appearance there. He gets incredibly annoying later on, especially when you have to watch turning the tiles back to their original colour yourself, because he obviously does the same thing. So jumping over them it's a challenge. There, he's back again, look. So now he's turning all my squares back into their original colours. Now I think if he touches them again, I believe that he will turn them back to their original state as well. So he is actually a royal pain in the backside. I'm going to chase him now, see if I can actually catch up with him. There you go. You can actually eat him. That's good. I wasn't sure. I had a feeling you could, but there you go. But this is a great game. Absolutely great. And the simplicity of it makes it great. So, you know, it just goes to show you don't have to have an amazing technological masterpiece to be a playable, fun little game. Pippo ticks all the boxes. Playability wise, it's great. Sound, I think, you know, sound lets it down a bit, but you can't really moan too much, considering that it was a 48k game and the 128 wasn't out at the time. So it kind of, you know, it was restricted in that respect. But if you think how much they've actually ploughed into this game for a 48k game, they've done a really, really good job. Animations are lovely as well. So you've got the nice animation on the scissors, you've got the animation on Pippo bouncing around as well. There's a little shadow underneath the power pill. It's just, there's a lot to take in. when you're playing this, though, it's quite hard to actually take in the glory of the game because you're so concentrated on not getting hit by anything. That UFO follows you around, which is a real nuisance. But, you know, without something to keep you on your toes, what are you going to do? You know, the puzzle element gives it a challenge. The extra sort of requirements to finish the level make it a challenge. So if you like to have a go at something that's a bit different, but will keep you coming back for more, then give this game a try. I really can't recommend Pippo enough. I remember playing this for hours on end, and that was unfortunate. I've even turned the square. Oh, so I wonder if I come back now, is it going to... It's instant completion. Absolutely fabulous. There you go. So this... I absolutely adore this game. I think it's very cutesy, and I think, to be honest with you, it's suitable for everybody. It's a family game, so, you know, crowd round your specky, get it loaded up and have a play. Absolutely. Now I've got to change the colour. Here we go, look. Now if I jump on them now, they turn back to their original state. So you've got to fill them in without retreading on them, which is easier said than. Really is, especially when you've got those mobs coming at you, because every time you jump to avoid them, you're going to have to jump onto an adjacent space, which means that you're going to have to turn them back to their original colour. And there is Mr. Smiley Face again, just to put a crimp on your day. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with a little bit more footage of Pippo. Thank you very much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Remember to like, share and subscribe. And hello to all our new subscribers, by the way. It's great to have you on board. So, I will see you tomorrow for the final ZX Spectrum weekday, where I've got something a little bit special for you. Take care, everybody, and bye for now.